Imagine you're me, Johnny Carter, 20, a kid from Ohio who thought war was just noise until February 12th, 1968, when the jungle turned on me, spitting bullets like a cornered beast, and I fired back, my M14 roaring into a green void where the enemy hid, faceless, relentless. My olive drab fatigue stuck to me, soaked with sweat and jungle mud, the red dust from Playco a week ago now a gritty stain on my boots. And I crouched there, heart pounding like a drum. I couldn't stop, the air alive with bugs, gunpowder, and the snap of leaves breaking under fire. A week back, I'd stumbled off that C-131 in a Playco's heat, choppers thumping overhead, thinking I'd felt war's edge. Hell, I'd lain awake as B-52s growled on February 6th. But this was different. This was war's claws sinking in, a blind fight in a world that didn't blink. Tommy's curses cut through 3 feet left. Eddie's gasp shook behind a tree. Big Mike's shouts anchored the chaos. And me, I pulled that trigger, rounds ripping out, praying to hit something, anything, wondering if Mom's letter in my pocket would be my last mark, or if I'd just dissolve into this green hell. February 12th crept in gray and heavy over Campanari. The mist thick like a wet blanket, curling low around the tents. The red dirt slick and cold under my boots as I hauled myself out at 0600, M14 slung loose over my shoulder, its weight a constant now. 7 days ago, I'd hit Pleiku, red dust choking my throat, the C-131's ramp dropping me into Vietnam's heat, choppers pounding the sky. And now, after a week of drills, C-rations, and those B-52 booms rattling my cot, I stood here, bleary-eyed, facing my first patrol. The air smelled of damp earth, diesel, and something sour, rot, maybe, and a Huey spun up 300 yards off, its blades slicing the quiet, a low thump I felt in my chest. Tommy shuffled up 3 feet left, his red hair plastered wet under his M1 helmet, freckles popping against pale skin, fumbling a lucky strike with shaky hands. "Sleep any, Carter?" he asked, striking a match that hissed in the damp, smoke curling slow, and I shook my head. Barely. Those damn bombs again. My voice rough, thinking of Ohio. Nights by the creek, fireflies blinking, Mom's voice soft through the screen door. Here was floodlights buzzing 50 yards off, their yellow glow cutting the mist, and the generator's hum half a mile away, a drone that never quit. Eddie adjusted his glasses 5 feet right, small hands clutching his M14. "Heard it's just recon. Quiet out there," he said, hopeful, and Big Mike snorted behind, 6'3" of Texas muscle. "Quiet till it ain't, kid." His gray eyes sharp, silver ring glinting as he slung his rifle, mud already streaking his fatigues. We trudged to the briefing tent, 20 by 30 feet, canvas sagging under drizzle, a wooden table scarred with knife marks, maps pinned crooked on a board. Sergeant Hayes stood there, his sunburned face a storm of red, clipboard slamming down as he barked. "Alpha Company, Sector 5, recon, 2 miles west, back by dusk." His short frame paced, finger jabbing a smudged green patch on a map, the jungle, and I stood stiff, my fatigues damp, dog tags cold against my chest, picturing Dad back home, tracing fishing spots on his old topo map, merry and giggling as I snagged the line on a branch. Here was trails, maybe traps, and Hayes' voice sliced through. "Eyes open, Carter, where your meat? VC don't wave hello." I nodded, throat dry, the tent alive, boots scuffing, rifles clinking, 20 grunts breathing heavy, the air thick with sweat and tension. Outside, I checked my gear, canteen sloshing full, 3 mags heavy in my pouch, P-38 rattling loose, a spare sock stuffed in my pocket, my hand steady but my gut twisting like a knot. Tommy slapped my shoulder. "Stick close, hero," grinning through the drizzle, and I smirked. "You too," though I felt green, untested, Pleicu's dust still under my nails, a week-old mark I couldn't shake. Eddie whispered, "Think we'll see?" The VC, his voice thin, glasses fogging, and I shrugged. Hope not. But Hayes' glare burned. War was out there, and today I'd walk into its jaws. The mist thickened, a Jeep growled 50 yards off, its tires spinning mud, and I breathed it in, wet dirt, oil, fear, thinking of Mom's kitchen, warm with frying grease, merry and sneaking bites, a world slipping from my grip. Hayes barked us in a line. 10 of us. Me, Tommy, Eddie, Big Mike, him, 5 others, Jenkins, Ruiz, Peters, 2 quiet guys I barely knew, and we stood there, mud sucking at our boots, rifles gleaming wet, the base waking slow behind us. A corporal hauled crates 20 yards off, shouting at a driver, and I watched, my breath fogging, picturing Dad loading the truck for a fishing trip, his pipe smoke curling. Ready, Johnny? This wasn't ready, this was stepping blind, and I shifted my M14, it stopped cool, my hands itching to move. We stepped off at 0800, boots squelching through the red mud past camp in Nari's barbed wire. The jungle a dark green wall a mile west, drizzle spitting steady from a gray sky that pressed low. My M14 hung heavy, strap cutting to my shoulder, fatigues sticking wet to my skin, sweat beading under my M1 helmet as we marched single file. Hayes up front, his short legs pumping, growling, "Keep up, damn it!" The air was thick, rotting leaves, wet earth, a sour tang of bugs. And I slapped my neck, hands slick with mud, their whine loud in my ears, a hum that drowned the quiet. Tommy trudged 3 feet left, cigarette dead in his pocket, too wet to light, grumbling, like wadding through a damn swamp. And I nodded, worse in Ohio mud, picturing spring rains, me and Mary in stomping puddles, her laugh bright as Mom called us in from the porch. Here, vines snagged my boots, roots tripped me, the trail shrinking as trees closed in, their canopy dripping, blotting the sky, leaves brushing my helmet like fingers. Eddie stumbled 5 feet back, glasses fog, can't see a damn thing. He hissed, wiping them with a muddy sleeve, and Big Mike growled, "Eyes up, kid," his big hands steadying his M14, silver ring glinting through the muck, his voice a rock in the wet. The jungle sang, birds shrieking high, bugs droning relentless, leaves rustling wet, and I gripped my rifle tighter, every snap a jolt, Hayes' drills pounding my head. Move fast, shoot first. Back home, I'd hunted with Dad, the wood still, his .30-06 a clean crack through the trees. Mary and whispering, "Did you get it?" As we tracked a buck. This was chaos alive, and I wasn't hunting. I was the hunted, maybe my boots sinking, mud to my shins, legs burning. We pushed 2 miles, Pleikus dust a memory under this green hell, and Hayes raised a fist, hold, his whisper sharp, eyes darting left, right. I froze, breath shallow, drip, buzzed the jungle breathing, and strained my ears, hearing nothing but my pulse, loud as a drum, the air so would it choked me. The trail twisted, roots thick like snakes underfoot, and I stepped careful, my fatigue snagging on thorns, mud climbing my legs, the drizzle cold on my neck. Tommy cursed, "Gonna lose my damn boots," kicking a vine, and I smirked, "Better in losing you," though my chest tightened. Ohio's fields were soft, open, never fighting back like this. Eddie panted, "How far now?" wiping his glasses again, and Hayes snapped, "Far enough. Keep moving," his voice a lash, and we did, the jungle pressing closer, a trap I couldn't see, its hum growing, birds fading, bugs louder, a warning I couldn't read. We stopped once, 0930. Hayes signaling a break, 10 minutes, backs against trees, canteens out. I gulped mine, water warm, tasting of metal, and wiped my mouth, mud smearing my sleeve, thinking of the creek back home. Cold, clear, Mary, and splashing me, "You're slow, Johnny." Here, it was sweat, mud, and Tommy muttering, "This place hates us," his hand shaking as he tried his cigarette again, the match fizzling. Big Mike chewed a cracker. "Toughen up," he said, but his eyes flicked sharp, scanning the green, and I nodded, silent, the jungle watching, waiting. It hit at 10:30, a crack, sharp as a whip, then a storm, bullets ripping through the canopy, snapping twigs, shredding leaves, thudding into mud like hail on a tin roof. I dropped flat, belly down, mud splashing my face, my M14 slamming into my hands as I rolled behind a tree, heart jackknifing, breath gone. "Ambush!" Hayes roared, 5 yards up, his M16 spitting fire, brass glinting as it fell, and I peeked. Nothing, just green, shadows darting, leaves jerking where rounds hit. My fatigue soaked, red mud streaking my arms. I squeezed my trigger, crack, crack, crack. The M14 bucking, firing blind into the jungle, no target, just prey, my hand shaking, barrel scorching. Tommy crouched 3 feet left. "Where the hell are they?" he yelled, his M14 barking, brass ejecting into the mud, and I shouted, "Don't know." My voice cracking, rounds buzzing past, one so close it kissed my helmet with a ping. Eddie whimpered 5 feet back. "Oh God," curled behind a root, M14 silent, glasses smeared with mud, and Big Mike bellowed, "Shoot, damn it." 10 yards right, his rifle steady, rounds tearing into the green, a wall of sound. The air reeked, cordite, wet rot, my own sweat, and I fired again, 10 shots, 20, 30 barrel hot as hell, the jungle a blur of noise and death I couldn't touch, my ears ringing, my world shrinking. Back home, firecrackers popped on the 4th. Merry and laughing, "Light it, Johnny!" Dad's hand on my shoulder, the bang safe right here was bullets, real, slicing the air, and I wasn't laughing, I was choking mud in my teeth. Hayes yelled, "Flank left," and I crawled, vines clawing my fatigues, firing as I went. Crack, crack. Nothing to aim at, just shadows, flickers, my rounds chewing leaves, splinters flying, the tree bark rough against my shoulder. A grunt screamed. Peters, 20 yards up, blood blooming on his leg, his M16 dropping. And I froze, gut lurching, then fired harder, panic clawing me. Ohio gone, just this, me a grunt, shooting ghosts, my breath ragged, my hands numb. The firing stretched, 5 minutes, 10, rounds coming in waves, snapping high, thudding low, and I reloaded, mag slamming home, fingers slipping, firing again, 40 shots, 50, my M14 a beast I couldn't tame. Tommy cursed, "Bastards," his voice raw, and I saw him, mud to his chin, eyes wild, still shooting. Eddie sobbed, "I can't," and Big Mike roared, "Cover me," moving up, his big frame of shadow, rounds spitting from his barrel. A bullet grazed my tree, bark exploding, and I ducked, firing blind, the jungle laughing, dripping, hiding them. VC, ghost, death. It stopped, sudden, silence slamming in, my ears buzzing, breath heaving. Hayes called clear, his voice cracked, and we answered shaky, Tommy coughing, Eddie sobbing, Big Mike steady, heads low, that the jungle still dripping, mocking us. I sat up, mud to my elbows, M14 trembling, and scanned. No bodies, no enemy, just us alive, Peters groaning, blood pooling, Jenkins and Ruiz dragging him. My hand shook, 50 rounds gone, 50 shots at nothing. And I spat mud, tasting it, the jungle staring back, quiet now, like it had never happened, my chest tight, my mind blank. We pulled back slow, Peters limping between Jenkins and Ruiz, his blood staining the mud. Hayes up front, "Move, move," his voice hoarse, face tight with fury. My legs wobbled, fatigues heavy with wet. My M14 slick, barrel warm from 50 rounds, 50 blind shots, and I still felt it, the buzz of bullets, the snap of leaves, my hands numb, my ears ringing. Tommy walked beside me. "You see him?" he asked, voice low, eyes flicking sharp, and I shook my head, not a damn thing. Throat burning, mud caked to my knees, my boots dragging. Eddie trailed, glasses cracked. Thought I was dead, he whispered, hands shaking, and Big Mike grunted. "Still here, kid," his big frame steady, silver ring gleaming through the muck, though his jaw was tight. The jungle thinned, Campanari's wire glinting a mile off through the drizzle, and I breathed. Mud, blood, cordite. Thinking of Ohio, Dad's deer stand, the quiet crack of his .30-06. Marion's voice calling me home through the trees. Supper's ready. This wasn't that. War had claws, and I'd felt them, blind and sharp, tearing at me, leaving me hollow. We hit base at 1400, mud-caked, silent. Peters hauled to the medic tent, his groans fading as Jenkins yelled for a doc. And I dropped by our tent, M14 falling to the dirt, my hands on my knees, staring at the red mud. Pleiku's mark, now bloodied, a week's journey from that sea, 131 to this nightmare. Tommy lit a cigarette, hands shaky. "Hell of a walk," he muttered, smoke trembling, and I nodded, "Yeah." My voice a ghost, picturing Mom, her apron, her pie, her stay safe, Johnny, and wondering what I'd write now, how I'd tell her I'd shot at shadows and lived. Eddie sat, wiping his glasses. "Never fired," he said, soft, ashamed, and Big Mike clapped his shoulder. "Next time, kid." His gray eyes hard but warm, a flicker of something human. I cleaned my M14, mud flaking off, the barrel cool now, and felt it, War wasn't just noise, it was the shake in my bones, the ghost I'd shot at, the kid I'd been slipping away. Ohio fading like a dream I couldn't hold. The bass buzzed, choppers landing, jeeps rumbling, soldiers shouting. And I watched, numb, my hand slow on the rifle, mud under my nails, a week of Vietnam etched there. Hay stomped by, debrief in 10, his voice clipped, and I nodded mechanical, thinking of Fort Dix. Hay's barking'll die out there, Carter. And now I tasted it death close, blind, and I was still here somehow. Tommy exhaled, gonna need a drink, and I smirked, me too, though nothing would wash this out. Not yet. So that was February 12th, 1968, my first patrol, straight into an ambush, bullets screaming from nowhere, me firing back blind, my M14 blazing 50 rounds into a jungle that hid an enemy I never saw. Pleiku's red dust from a week ago was mud now. My fatigue soaked, Tommy cursing through the chaos, Eddie praying behind a root, Big Mike roaring, and me, 20, shaking like a leaf alive by dumb luck or God's grace or something I couldn't name. Those shots still echoed in my head. My hand still felt the trigger, 50 rounds into nothing, and I sat there, mud to my elbows, Campanari's wire a shaky promise of rest, wondering, how do you fight shadows? I didn't know, not then, cleaning my rifle, my breath still ragged, Pleiku's heat a faint scar under this jungle's grip. The day wasn't over. War wasn't over. And tomorrow, February 13th, I'd be back out there, sleeping in a foxhole, the jungle's bugs screaming in my ears, so loud I'd feel them crawl, scared enough to choke on tears I'd fight to hide, my M14 my only anchor. That's what's waiting, my first night in a hole. And I didn't know it yet, scraping mud off my boots, my hands still unsteady, the ambush a weight I couldn't shake. Want to know how I faced that night, how the dark and the bugs nearly broke me, how I held it together, or didn't? Stay with me, subscribe, and let's dig into that foxhole together, one trembling breath at a time.